Hi all, it's Robert, and it is coming towards the end of August here in 2025. I would like to introduce you guys to the differences between spiritual counselors and transpersonal psychotherapists, because I recently had a spiritual experience of someone named Lauren Daigle who was claiming that she was a transpersonal psychotherapist, and it really pissed me off because there's huge differences between transpersonal psychotherapists and spiritual counselors. And at best, she is a spiritual counselor. Okay, so this will make it clear for her and for everyone else. So spiritual counselors are biased and prejudiced against others who do not practice, quote unquote, the truth as according to the Bible. And transpersonal psychologists, on the other hand, prejudices are illegal, folks. So just think about the difference between a spiritual counselor and a psychotherapist there. Prejudices are illegal for a transpersonal psychotherapist. Prejudices, however, play a huge part in spiritual counseling because they're always measuring your behavior and your person against the Bible. Okay. Biases in transpersonal psychotherapy are unethical at best and illegal at the worst. I'll let that sit in for a second. It's a profound difference between the two of them. Okay, so all natures are subjected to the standards of good and evil. For spiritual counselors. Whereas for a transpersonal psychotherapist, the various internalized objects and their nature are viewed objectively. And if not objectively, we don't qualify them. We accept them as they are. We accept your subpersonalities, your internalized objects, your internalized self-objects, and your archetypes as they are. We don't qualify them. So let that sit in. If a transpersonal psychotherapist is sitting with you and you're finding a new personality, a new subpersonality, namely my worker subpersonality or my driver subpersonality is the most familiar to most of us, or my intimate with my partner subpersonality, or my getting ready for work subpersonality. Or responding to abusive people subpersonality. How about that one? So if we encounter the responding to abusive people subpersonality, call it the protector, then we don't qualify the protector. We acknowledge that he is as he is, a protector. Whereas a spiritual counselor is going to say, oh, well, I notice that you have this protector aspect of yourself, but it's not in alignment with, turn the other cheek. And it's not in alignment with love your enemies. And it's not in alignment with, context is everything. And a transpersonal psychotherapist does a better job of acknowledging that context is everything than a spiritual counselor. A spiritual counselor, they help clients to discover, quote unquote, the truth in the Bible relative to the situations that they find themselves in. Whereas a transpersonal psychotherapist, we help clients to discover their own truth. Okay? We don't proselytize to clients. Spiritual counselors do, but we don't. Not as transpersonal psychotherapists. Okay, and I can lean both directions. I can lean towards spiritual counselor and I can lean towards transpersonal psychotherapist, but I am definitely a transpersonal psychotherapist and definitely not a spiritual counselor. Okay, doesn't mean I'm not a spiritual person, and maybe that this final point will help clarify that for you. So the psyche, and for spiritual counselors, is divided into ego, soul, and spirit. So it's you, your own soul, and God, basically. Whereas for transpersonal psychotherapists, psyche is divided into ego, the personal and collective unconscious, higher and lower unconscious. And this higher and lower and collective and personal unconscious are populated by subpersonalities, internalized objects, and archetypes. In addition to all of that, we also acknowledge soul and spirit or God. We acknowledge all those things. So please, if you're a spiritual counselor out there, don't identify as a transpersonal psychotherapist, man, because you're fucking wrong if you do so. All right. Hope that clears things up for you, and I hope you're doing really, really well. Peace be with you. Bye for now.